Hello everyone, this is Zoltar, and welcome to our Offworld Trading Company Campaign Beta 2 patch preview. Those are way too many words all at once. Alright, what we're going to do here is the campaign is getting a nice big overhaul with this next coming patch. I've already played through it once, kind of have a good idea of what's going on in it, so I figured what we would do is we'd just start a new one up and give you guys a basic overview of what your campaign missions are going to look like now. So let's just get to it. We're going to start expansive, and we're going to go manager difficulty, just, you know, average, basic stuff is what we're going for here. We're not getting fancy, we just want to know what things look like. Alright, you will notice some similarities and some differences from before. First of all, the labor pool is still there. We still have access to buildings that we can see in very similar fashions to how they were before. Over on the left-hand side of the screen, where we see that we can build life support, and we can build some mines, and we can build some factories, and we can get some solar power, and then we can buy more of these things if we want to. I'll go ahead and start by just buying a solar panel engineer and an electrolysis reactor engineer, because why not? Now, over here, you'll see that instead of score, we now have stock price. Now, my stock price is lower than everybody else's, and I have no idea why. Because all the numbers look the same to me until you get to the part that says total and per share. So for example, like, okay, first place guy, he's got 3,400 base, 6,000 in labor, or 600, you know, okay, 3,400 in base, 600 in labor, 2,000 in handicap. We'll ignore the case for now, right? So 2,000 in handicap, that adds up to 6,000. That makes sense. We have 3,400 base, 600 in labor, 2,000 in handicap, and we're only at $4 because that adds to 4,000. I don't get that part. That's the only thing that seems super weird about this whole process to me, though. It's like I always felt like I was $2 lower than I should have been. But it's fine. We'll ignore that, and let's actually get to paying attention to what else is new. So stock price is now used as score. And this actually becomes relevant later in the campaign, which I'll get to when we talk about that in a little bit later. But your stock price is actually important and continually calculated throughout the entire campaign, which is cool because generally the goal of your company is just to raise your stock price until the very, very end of the campaign. So that's a nice new feature because what's happening is we're not using the elimination mode in campaign anymore. We're using the colony stock or 8 days mode, where no company gets eliminated. You just try and buy into the colony and raise your stock price through doing things like that. So it's a much more interesting campaign in a lot of ways to me, and it just makes a lot more sense rather than eliminating a corporation and it's like, well, but they're still around, even though I bought them out, and they just didn't get points, and it was just like, look, it plays into the theme a lot more. It's a lot nicer, right? We still see labor pool, we still see all this stuff, but then we have up here, we have like funds, and we have debt, and we have income. Now, we'll remember funds and income. Those two things should be fairly memorable. And then we also have expenses to paying our engineers that we have hired, and we have net. So net, I would lose 400,000 next mission. So I'm going to have to beef up my income and funds, which I believe are directly related to success in our next mission in order to kind of pay for everybody that I've bought so far. So we need to get on that basically because our income is only 400,000. That's a starting base income and we need to beef it up. So what we're going to do is hop into the first mission. You'll notice we still get a perk for completing a mission successfully, but there is no income addition anymore, because that is more directly tied into your actual success in the mission from what I can tell. And then you also have debt potential, and you can just pay debt with this button over here, and it'll raise your stock price, basically, if you don't have any debt. Debt hurts your stock price, and that's all well and good. Anyways, like I was saying, we're going to pick a mission, and it's going to be an 8 days mission now instead of a normal mission. The only time when you will play a normal mission in the campaign now is in the very last round. There are going to be 4 of you left, assuming you made it into the top 4 in terms of stock price. There are going to be 4 of you left, and you are actually going to play an elimination game where everybody's stock price starts at whatever their out-of-game stock price is, from what I can tell. Now, I've only played through this once because I'm trying to get all this out there, and, you know, I didn't build it myself, but this is what I've seen. And so that's really cool because it encourages really, really strong success, not just to get into the top 4, but to actually be in first place. And that has a serious direct impact on that final mission. And it also kind of turns it into a longer elimination mission than you might expect when everybody is starting out with behemoth empires with like free metal mines and glass shipments coming in all over the place and extra claims and so on and so forth. It still ends up being a bit more extended than it used to be in the old campaign because everybody also has $20 stock price. And it's like, no, you have to actually push and you have to make money and everybody has a chance and nobody's going to get wiped out right away. So it makes for a more interesting scenario in that last mission. So now that we've talked about all that for a little bit, let's hop into one. Let's just take a look at one of these missions will look like, and then we'll wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and go for the glass shipment mission that does not allow a hacker array. And let's get started. Another thing to note is you will see the colony size interface over to the right, kind of in that top right area here, which is actually pretty relevant to everything you are doing, right? You kind of want to grow the colony, especially if you can do something like put down a pleasure dome. Generally, I keep trying to grow the colony most of the time in all of my missions. And then you'll notice off to the right, instead of just being able to buy colony stock, like it used to be for the colony stock mode, we can now buy housing, leisure facilities, offices, or labs for the colony. Seriously, there has to be aluminum somewhere on this map. Thank you. That's super far away. I guess we're using it though, unless we find closer iron. Okay, there's better iron. There are 2 other people on this map, so I need to be careful of that and not wait too terribly long to found. Because they'll probably found before too long. I guess we'll just... Wow, this is an awful map, guys. I'm just going to do this. Forget it. Get down aluminum. Get down some iron. Got my extra claim because I'm expansive. All that usual stuff. And let's get started. So what I'm going to be doing this whole time is trying to raise my own stock price as high as it'll go here. And I'm going to be doing that through purchasing housing and probably mostly housing and leisure facilities at the colony in order to raise my stock price and win the mission. Because I believe, I don't remember if it's highest stock price wins the mission or if it's most shares in the colony, but generally this has not been an issue for me, honestly. So I kind of ignored it and I've just gone for both because they work well together anyway. Your mileage may vary. Let's see, we need to push for an upgrade before too terribly long. I should have realistically done all this already. And we're just waiting for that aluminum to come in. We'll hit the upgrade button. We'll get a water pump out and we'll get steel mills down. It'll look very much like a normal game to you guys, I think. Oh, look, there was way more steel over here, or iron over here than I thought there was. Was there aluminum, like, anywhere on this map, though? Okay, yes, there is aluminum down here. I wish I still had that interface that showed me how much of what was available on the map after I found. Alright, there's 3 steel mills. We're going to pop down a little water pump as soon as we can. And we'll keep moving. So this is what it looks like now. Oh. We can unlock the engineering lab with an additional 50% speed boost for this mission only. It's kind of tempting in its own way, but you'll notice that one thing that goes on in campaign right now is the bots actually bid crazy high. And I'm sitting here going, maybe I can support that at like 10,000? And the bots are just like, 30,000. I want it right now. It's like, you guys are crazy. So that's pretty consistent. Honestly, that's just something that happens. And that's just the way campaign is right now. Interestingly enough, we're against 2 robotic players, which is going to make things a little odd. Because usually life support is kind of what goes nuts, and it's going to go a little less nuts this game than usual. If I had to make a guess. They'll say that sadly my 2 metal mines can't actually support my steel mills because campaign, but you know, whatever. That's just life. These guys, on the other hand, have some fantastic setups already, so we'll have to worry about that. Anyways,
market is online.
We will, after I figure out how to actually get to another upgrade, which is going to prove a little more difficult than I would like. There we go. Let's take a look at what the different modules for the colony do. We can see the neutral colony here, right? This is a laboratory. This is an office building. This, I believe, is a leisure building. And then I don't think we actually have a housing module attached at this point, just this port. which has 4 jobs and a population 2 out of 2 right now. As we can see for the colony, that's what all these are. It's just kind of the central area. So there's no housing attached to the colony right now. And if we want to beef up the colony's population, we're going to want to add housing to it, which is going to cost a flat sum of money, $3,500, and then 50 aluminum for that first unit of housing. And this has a very similar effect to what buying colony stock used to do, in that it will provide you, I believe, a bonus to your stock price and so on and so forth. But now it has this additional effect where the colony will now consume more water, more food, and more oxygen. So that's kind of cool in that you can tailor some of the demand that the colony is going to be experiencing around what you're going to actually be producing, which is kind of nice. So I want the colony to consume more water and oxygen and food. Excuse me. Because that's what I plan to make, right? So that way my stuff will be more valuable and I can keep making more money. These other buildings, the leisure building consumes power and water. That's maybe another option. I can build power and water. That's fine. The office, on the other hand, consumes power and electronics. So I probably don't want the colony to have too many electronics buildings because the robotics are going to be able to make electronics a lot better than I can because I can't make electronics at all. And then the laboratory will see a similar thing. It consumes chemicals and glass, and not very much glass. And plus, it takes electronics to build the laboratory in the first place. So maybe I also want to avoid that, because I'm not making a whole lot of glass. If I'm making any glass, it costs a lot in electronics. That makes it expensive for me. It makes their electronics more valuable. It makes chems more valuable, which I can't build. So I'm going to be focusing on housing and leisure primarily, which is kind of cool. I like the way all of that works, frankly. We'll go ahead and toss down some reactors because they're reactors, and reactors are good. There we go. And we'll want another water pump because we don't have anywhere near enough water just with this one little water pump, giving us only 1.4 a second. Pathetic. Silly high water tile. And then we'll actually hopefully be able to expand fairly quickly and get into actually buying some of this colony stuff. As you can see, even though we're playing kind of 8 days mode, I believe what happens in the campaign is it starts off shorter and then kind of keeps getting longer and longer and longer and longer. Well, our steel mills are doing awfully. So we're actually just going to get rid of those, I think. Not worry about making steel for much longer. Just get into what solar power we can. This gives us an excuse to put down the new solar panel animation, which I always thoroughly enjoy for no really particularly good reason. I just do. And man, water's expensive. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. On the other hand, they're still making me money, just, you know, not a lot. Alright. Uh-huh. And I think I forgot to set everything to auto supply this game, because I kind of have to resetting that as I keep resetting that as I switch between versions from what I saw, but that's not going to be an issue when the game, you know, when the patch actually hits. So I'm not too concerned about it. All right, one more solar panel. Hopefully we can at least get rid of most of this debt, because the debt that you experience from the game will, I believe, carry over onto the main screen. So that is definitely something to watch out for. You'll have to pay off debt later on, potentially. I like these electronics factories with their adjacency bonuses doing exactly nothing right now. It's fantastic. All right, we got power online. We have reactors online, which will make us money someday, hopefully. And it would be really nice if we could either get an upgrade going, upgrade the colony, you know, things of that nature would be kind of cool before too terribly long. Let's just keep selling this stuff until we can manage it. Need about $3,000 more dollars. Unfortunately, you know, a lot of our income right now is based in power, which, as everybody knows, isn't the most helpful thing in the world. Oh, pirates. Pirates are cool. Yeah, but the bots do this now, which makes it a little more difficult to actually benefit from the pirates. I could go ahead and mutiny this silicon. Might be worthwhile. Might want to put down my own silicon before I do that, though. And now I can buy anything I want to in the colony, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go for the upgrade, and then we'll figure it out from there. Iron shortage is not actually the most helpful thing in the world right now. Oops. We'll upgrade.
With this new expansion, we have increased our potential production rate by a lot. The shareholders will love it.
Sell off the iron, because why not? We'll go ahead and put a little silicon quarry down for that potential for mutinying. Power surplus is kind of whatever. And we'll just work on getting food down. Food sounds nice. I like food. Come on, food. Alright, there we go. And we're all set. At this point, I can think about maybe buying some of the colony stock. I can think about maybe shutting down this electronics production, which is making way too much money. Things of that nature. Haven't had any good fortune with really particularly helpful shorts or surpluses at this point, which is sad, but just kind of the way things are sometimes. And at least our food should be making decent money, right? 28 a second, not too great, but not too bad either. Man, it really, really hurts having only mediocre buildings for the most part. Like I have reactors, which aren't mediocre, and everything else still kind of hurts. I guess my... Ooh. Well, that happened. Not getting a whole lot of benefit out of it, but it's something, I suppose. And hopefully we'll land well out of it, right? Well, the reactors probably don't need to be reacting anymore. Or sorry, the solar panels don't need to be solar panelizing right now. That's totally a word, don't worry about it. And I think we're just going to do a little mutiny here. Get ourselves some of that high-value silicon. That Marsquake, I hadn't seen that in campaign yet. That's interesting. And I think we're going to go ahead and buy some housing. Going to encourage that colony to go ahead and grow. You'll notice still, like I pointed out earlier, we've got for the colony, wherever it disappeared to, here we go. It's got 2 out of 4 population now because we added 2 housing modules, which we can actually see right here. It also has 4 jobs. Generally speaking, the colony will not grow unless a job is available there. Something to keep in mind is people like to have jobs, go figure. And they would rather appreciate it if you made sure they had jobs before moving in. So you can't buy too much of these 3, leisure, office, and laboratories, without buying housing. Just doesn't work. It causes problems. That's just the way it is. Really? 10,000 for that? The other one's not going to go super hard in it? That's a little weird. And at this point, we would kind of want to buy both a housing and a leisure, if we could pull it off. Oh, carbon short. Sell all the things. Buy into that, because I don't like... That actually hurts these guys quite a lot, potentially. That carbon short. I don't think they have any carbon coming in. And on top of that, yeah, they've got electronics, but look at the profit margin on that right now. It's insanely bad. Another thing you'll notice, by the way, is black market, for whatever reason, takes an extremely long period of time in the new mode, in the new game mode. Can I really, on 65,000, not afford an upgrade? It costs 72,000 for me to upgrade right now. I'll forget that. We'll just buy more. We can see that more housing got purchased, and let's see, it looks like another laboratory got purchased here. So we can just buy more housing and more leisure if we want to. Watch those get constructed. That's kind of nice. And that all works out just fine. I feel like we do kind of want to upgrade again if we can pull it off, but I don't know if we really can. Steel mill's not doing so hot anymore with power being super expensive. I could upgrade. I could just buy more colony stuff. Might just try that. Can also do some of this. It's making him some money. Whoa, another Marsquake. Are you serious right now? Whatever, game. Whatever. Sell all the things. I guess I could pay down debt. Probably not the worst idea. That way we don't have to do it in between missions. Probably best to get out of these. An upgrade would be nice, but it's just gotten so insanely expensive with all the Marsquakes that I don't know if it's actually viable to upgrade. I can't really afford a new claim purchase either. Kind of just stuck with what I've got already. We could put down some glass furnaces here. And then which of these is making more? The farms just aren't doing well because I don't have a good farm engineer. So I'm actually going to get rid of those and just throw down more solar panels again to help pay off this debt. Then actually I'll go ahead and pay debt that way they'll just make me money directly. Oh, my water gets EMP'd. That's painful. These are so good. It's making me so much money. Now it doesn't even matter in the slightest. Alright, whatever. As you can see, we have 10 jobs for our 8 populations. We're actually going to try and build more housing. And another thing you'll probably notice is growth started out at plus 20. But because water is currently expensive, food is currently expensive, and oxygen is currently expensive, we are seeing that growth is down to plus 15 because oxygen is so expensive it's minus 2, food is so expensive it's minus 2, and water is expensive enough to cause minus 1. Now, if these things kind of stop, it's actually horrible considering I put down glass. If these resources stop costing quite so much money, I'm having trouble with my words today, then it will be a lot easier to grow the colony, and the colony will grow much better. Well, upgrade got cheap again. Unfortunately, my reactors probably aren't doing so hot, and I don't have any water income to fix it.
Black market is online.
I just don't have much of anything right now, if we're honest. And Delta Upgrade Core is keeping up with me fairly effectively. That's very frustrating. Because it feels like I don't have anything to make, and he's just sitting here on electronics being like, la-di-da, win the game, because double robotics in this one. And then I guess he also has power going here, so he probably has no debt. Now he has some debt. Okay, good. Alright, water, save my life, please. That's all I got is the water. This is still a frustration with me for the campaign. I think it's less bad now that the campaign kind of extends over a longer period of time. But it is still kind of this frustrating element of, oh, well, you can't make that. Why? Because you're not that colony. It's like, oh, good. Glad we sorted that one on out. But a nice thing is, you'll no longer have so many campaign missions that I've had to deal with before, where it's like, okay, campaign gets started, and it's suddenly over, because there was like 2 shortages in a row, and then you bought into it and the computer didn't, and oh, the game ended. Because that just sucks. It really just sucks. Now, I'd really love to get this last little share of colony stock before the game ends. I don't think I can push to 2 shares, but I don't think my opponent can either, so we'll just kind of have to see what happens. Start auto supply, come on. Work with me, game. Don't need your nonsense. There we go. This wasn't too successful a mission for us. We only got 11 out of the 10, and it might matter distribution-wise. Like, how much of the stock you got could affect your stock price in different ways, I think. We're just kind of examining all of this still. But the mission should wrap up fairly quickly. As you can see, it's the last day. We've only got like 3 hours left in it, so things will finish up quite soon, indeed. And we're just going to make sure to pay off all of our debt before the mission ends. And that should just about do it. Or, as the mission is ending, we'll just keep hitting this pay debt button. Because why not? I do kind of wish at this stage I could just say, look, auto pay all my debt as it appears right now. Which is usually kind of a bad idea, but it would make this end part less frustrating. And we win because we had 11. Delta Upgrade Core had 10, Sigma Launch Core had 2, so we take it. Our stock price is still lagging way behind because we don't have the +2 everybody else has for whatever reason, but at least we got it done. Okay, we can look at stats, but I don't really see much point. Let's go ahead and exit game and we can get back to this initial screen. So you'll see everything has shifted around. Sigma Launch Core did not do a good job. He has $836,000 of debt. So his stock price is reflecting this. He can choose to pay that off with his funds right now or not. I typically pay my debt every single time I come on out. As we can see, I've got like 23,000 in debt, but I have no funds because I paid so much in expenses last mission. And my income only just now went up, so I can't even cover all of my debt. I still have net negative funds from last time, so I can't actually buy anything from the labor pool. So that's going to be quite frustrating. We can see I have a small amount of debt also impacting my stock price. But now I have a nice boost from the headquarters that I set up. I have a $900,000 boost from that, so that's nice. And I'm also getting a little bit extra modification from structures I have and things of that nature. So that's nice, because my stock price is at least up from where it was before, unlike Sigma Launch Core where it moved down. You will notice campaign is a little more difficult at this point, but quite frankly, the hacker array still kind of completely breaks it, or at least did when I did my little playthrough a couple days ago. So that is well worth noting. Also, I'm a little tired of this in the campaign. Just something to note. This still exists in the campaign for whatever reason. You'll notice every single mission is a dust storm mission. Now, I don't mind having dust storm missions per se, but because of the sheer existence of dust storm missions, it just flat out makes wind power better than solar power in campaign. There is no question. It's like, sometimes this just happens. Does this happen with solar flares? No. Well, why not? I don't know. But we just kind of have to deal with a planet-wide dust storm for the time being, which means I'm probably screwed next round when it comes to power. Anyway, that's going to wrap up our little preview of the campaign. Hopefully you guys got a good idea of what it will look like in the future. Most people have said it is a little more difficult, which is probably a good thing overall. And as we can see, I didn't completely run away with it in that first round, and this round I might still have some trouble. So, maybe it is a bit more difficult, but that should just about do it though. So thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time.